Adam Savage here in my cave with a show and tell that involves, you probably already guessed it, lightsabers. Yeah. I have a large collection of lightsabers. For a while I was making TV money, every time I came across a lightsaber that was less than $100, I bought it. I no longer of that habit or that income, but I thought it would be instructive to show you an early lightsaber. This is not the lightsaber we're here to talk about. This is actually a blank, purchased on the Replica prop forum a few years ago. The thing to understand about lightsabers in general is that we know almost all the things. There are details, and there are different lightsabers from different scenes in different movies, but like the amount that we now know about, even down to the uneven distribution of the spacing between these cut-ins, these are known measurements. Right? Enough stunt sabers and real sabers have been measured and quantified so that we know all the things. So we could consider this to be like a perfect blank, and it needs, somewhere I have the activation box and the little D-ring and some other stuff, but like, there you go. That is what the lightsaber should look like. This is a nearly, to the nth degree, exact replica of Luke's saber. So, 26 years ago now, the very first museum exhibition of Lucasfilm Archives objects went up at the Yerba Buena Center for the Arts in San Francisco. So it's 26 years ago. It was December. In December, Lucasfilm did a 25th anniversary. So it would have been in the fall of 1994. Yeah, right? A long time ago. In 1994, they put on display a bunch of original Lucasfilm stuff. And of course, I went to this exhibition. And before I get to the lightsabers, a word about the 5-foot Millennium Falcon from Star Wars. There's been so much writing over the years about how great the Millennium Falcon is, how it's just super important, seminal ship, a culturally important thing. If you get the chance to see the original 5-foot shooting miniature of the Millennium Falcon, the one made for New Hope, they had to make a smaller one for Empire because the motion control rig needed a smaller ship and they didn't have sound stages big enough. But the original 5-footer is literally one of the most beautiful objects I have ever seen. It is a freaking masterpiece of model making, and it's kind of mind-blowing to see it up in person. So if you get a chance, it is still, I believe, traveling around the world. But another object in that exhibit caught my fancy, and I took a bunch of pictures. This is with a film camera. There was no digital cameras in 1994. With a film camera. And again, I wouldn't work at Lucasfilm for another 6 years. I was working in special effects for Jamie. I just started. And I took some pictures of Luke's lightsaber. And I went into Jamie's shop during lunch, and during, I think, 3 lunch hours. And out of a chunk of aluminum, I had bought this specific billet of, I think, 2-inch by 24-inch aluminum rod. And I hand machined my very first lightsaber. And there, and there, and there it is, ladies and gentlemen. This is my version. And I just, this is a really good thing to take note of. Because you can see these two objects are not the same. There are a lot of differences. But you can see that I actually got topographically, all of the topographic elements are there. There's, the outer little thin ring, and then the step, and a second step, right? I got all the steps correct. I got all the steps correct. And the size is not too far off. Even down to the hand wheel, I managed to use a, what did I use to do that? That is 8-sided. I'm trying to remember how I did that. I think that what I did was That is really curious. I can't functionally remember how I made those cuts in the early days of my machining prowess. But this goes to show that, like, if I handed you this and you weren't the level of Star Wars geek that I am, you'd be like, this is amazing. It feels amazing. I will say that when I made this, I made 2 of them and gave one to my friend Davey. Davey ended up directing a movie with Mark Hamill in it. And when Mark came over to my friend's apartment in Santa Monica, he was like walking around my friend's apartment. He picks up a lightsaber that I built off of the mantelpiece, and he's like, oh, this is really cool. And my friend is sitting there going, Mark Hamill is in my house and he's holding a lightsaber. So Davey had Mark sign that lightsaber. There's a sister to this one, and it has Mark's signature on it. The fact is that when we set out to replicate with imperfect reference material, we are always going to make imperfect replicas. But, and I have covered in the past in great detail how much a lack of fidelity will make me want to go back in and unpack something again and rebuild it. And I've done many props multiple times, sometimes twice, sometimes 4 or 5 times. But this one, there's something so pure about it. There's something so 1994, me in 1994. It's a time capsule. And I really appreciate it, seeing it next to what I was attempting. I can, here is the exact thing that I was attempting to achieve, and here is how close I got, which is in some ways not close at all, and in other ways, right on the money. Yeah, there you go. This is an old bit. I think this might be one of my very first prop replicas, one of my very first like official like prop replica. I'm going to make something. I want the experience. I want the thing. And this has been traveling around with me for the last 26 years, and it will probably travel around with me for the next 26. I hope to be here for at least another 40. That's my goal. All right. As long as we're all on the same page, I thank you guys for joining me for this brief show and tell into my lightsaber history. There's certainly more to tell about lightsabers, but this will do for now. Thanks, guys. See you next time.